Good morning, my dear students. In our last videos, we have done plant tissues. Today, we will do animal tissues, the type of tissues present in animals and human beings. There are four kinds of animal tissue: epithelial tissue, which covers outer surface of the whole body and its organs. Second type is muscular tissue, which forms muscles. And there are three types of muscles: voluntary muscles, involuntary muscles, and cardiac muscles, which are known as heart muscles. Third type of tissue is nervous tissue, and its main function is to transmit messages between brain or spinal cord and parts of the body. Fourth type of animal tissue is connective tissue, and it is also known as supportive tissue. Connective tissue, it is further divided into three types, that is connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue, and vascular tissue. Connective tissue proper is a further of four types, that is areolar tissue, adipose tissue, tendon, and ligament. Second type of connective tissue is skeletal tissue, which forms the framework of the body. It is of two types, cartilage and bone. And vascular tissue, which is known as fluid connective tissue, it is of two types, blood and lymph. So, first of all, we will start with epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue, it covers the outer surface of the whole body, and it also lines organs, cavities, and other parts of the body. For example, the various organs of our body, like heart, stomach, lungs, they are covered from outside and inside with a membrane made up of epithelial tissue. It is also forms the inner lining of blood and lymph vessels and various ducts and tubes such as bronchioles in the lungs. It is also present in glands such as salivary and digestive gland. So, in general, the function of epithelial tissue is protection from injury and germs, and it also helps in absorption and secretion. It is of three types. There is one diagram in your book that shows epithelial tissue, and it is a type of epithelial tissue forms the outermost layer of the skin and lines various parts of the body. Next type of animal tissue is connective tissue. This type of tissue is known as supportive tissue, and it has a few cells and plenty of intercellular spaces filled with matrix. So in this connective tissue, cells are not large in number, and these cells are embedded in matrix. Matrix is also known as intercellular substance that fills the intercellular spaces. Now, depending on the function of particular connective tissue, this matrix can be rigid, dense, liquid, or jelly-like. And this matrix may include fibrous substances. Now, what are the general function of connective tissue? Number one, it connects and binds the various structures of the body and fills up the space. Second, it provides support and forms the framework of the body. Third, it provides protection to various parts of the body. So, connective tissue, as we have already discussed, it is categorized into three classes, that is connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue, and vascular tissue. So, first of all, we will start with connective tissue proper. This connective tissue proper supports and surrounds the organs of the body and fills the spaces, connects muscles and bones, and one bone to another bone. So, these are further divided into four types of tissue. First is areolar tissue. This tissue is a mesh. Mesh means a network of different types of protein fibers. These protein fibers may be collagen or elastin, and some cells known as fibroblasts. So this areolar tissue, it is formed of a network of various protein fibers like collagen and elastin, and some cells, fibroblasts, are also present embedded in the jelly-like matrix of this tissue. It forms a continuous layer under the skin and packs spaces between various organs and keep them in place. So it produces a layer under the skin, and it acts as a cushion between the organs so that you do not get any kind of jerk. Next type of connective tissue proper is adipose tissue. This tissue is largely made up of fat cells, and these fat cells are known as adipocytes, and these are embedded in a matrix of collagen fibers. The matrix of this adipose tissue is made up of collagen fibers, and the cells present in this matrix are fat cells, or called adipocytes. These adipocytes, they store fats in their vacuoles, and adipose tissue, it is found under the skin, around the heart, kidney and joints, and in bone marrow, and in some other parts of the body. And what is the function of adipose tissue? It cushions various parts of the body and to protect them from injury and insulates body against cold. Third type of connective tissue proper is tendon. Tendon are bands of white fibrous connective tissue made up of collagen fibers and very little elastin. So matrix of this tendon is made up of mostly collagen. These fibers are strong and flexible and can withstand the stress of being stretched. Now tendons, they attach muscles to the bone, and their primary role is to help movement by transmitting the force of contraction of muscles to the bone. Next kind of connective tissue proper is ligament. These are bands of fibrous connective tissue, but they have more elastin than tendons. Now tendons, they have less elastin and more collagen. In case of ligament, they have more elastin and they are more extensible and flexible. Tendons contract muscles to bones, and ligaments, they join bones to one bone to the other bone, and their main function is to support and stabilize joints and prevent movement that may be damaging. So this is about connective tissue proper. Second is skeletal tissue. There are this type of tissue is much stronger than connective tissue proper. There are two types of skeletal tissue, that is cartilage and bone. Cartilage is present in the joints of bones and serves as cushioning between the bones. The ears, the nose, trachea, larynx all have cartilage, and bones, they form the skeleton of the body. So first of all, we study the detail of cartilage. This tissue is made up of cells called chondrocytes. Here is a diagram of, you can see. These are different cells called chondrocytes, and they are embedded in the matrix. Chondrocytes, these have wide spaces between them and embedded in jelly-like matrix. They make the tissue elastic and thus capable of absorbing shock of friction between the bones. Cartilage is firm. It is firm due to presence of fibers and highly hardened proteins of matrix. So this is about cartilage. Next is bone. This is the diagram of bone, you can see in transverse section. Now what is bone? It is the hardest substance, hardest connective tissue. Contains three types of cells: osteoblasts, osteocytes and osteoclasts. Osteoblasts produce a protein mixture that hardens to form the bone matrix. This is the bone matrix. So bone matrix, it is formed of osteoblasts. The matrix contains minerals. This matrix has some minerals like calcium, phosphorus and magnesium. This makes the bones hard. It also has fibers that add strength. Now osteoblasts eventually get trapped within the matrix. They get trapped within the matrix and become osteocytes. Here you can see osteocytes, these dark bands, dark concentric rings. The third type of cells, osteoclasts, are present near the outer surface of the bone. So, and help these osteoclasts, they help to break down damaged bone tissue, which is replaced by new matrix produced by osteoblasts. So when there is fracture or crack, these are repaired by the matrix produced by osteoblasts. Then, other than providing support, acting as the framework of the body and enabling movement of bones, also produce blood cells. So these are all the functions of bones. Next type of connective tissue is vascular tissue. It is a fluid connective tissue. It is of two types, blood and lymph. So first of all, let us do what blood is. It is a type of connective tissue, and the cells of this tissue are suspended in the matrix called plasma. As you know, plasma is the liquid part of the blood, so that is the matrix of this tissue. And it is a viscous fluid containing mainly of water. And there are three types of cells embedded in this plasma. These are red blood cells, RBCs, white blood cells, WBCs, and platelets. And what are the main? These are the types of cells. RBCs, these are all WBCs, and these are platelets. So all the three types of cells, they are embedded in the plasma, that is the matrix of this tissue. And what is the function of blood? It transports oxygen, carbon dioxide, digested food and waste material from one part of the body to another. And it also helps to fight infection and regulates body temperature. These are the functions of blood. Next type of connective tissue is lymph. Now this blood, when passes through the capillaries, some of the blood leaving behind RBCs passes into the spaces between the tissues. Now this straw colored watery fluid is called lymph. Straw colored because there are no RBCs in it. It gets drained into a network of vessels that forms lymphatic system. So this fluid that flows through lymph vessels that collectively form lymphatic system. Lymph, which can reach any part of our body, protect us from diseases and carries nutrients. So it is all about connective tissue. In next video, we will do the other types of animal tissue. Thank you.